Good day to you all, and I hope you all are doing very well. If you're not, hang in there, guys. I'll tell you, once you learn the simplicity of all this, then it's a trip to work it. No question about it. That's why I always like the word balance, because you just get in there and you tear it up, and that's what it's saying. You have to get a passion going. Like most of these YouTubers and the Facebook people, they have a passion because it makes you feel good. It expands your consciousness and awareness. It quiets the chattering of the mind. So it's just a feel good. And everything in nature, except for the destructive side, feels good. The beautiful flowers and the scents and just all the beautiful creatures on this planet. So it's good. And Marcy, I've hired another counselor. Roger is no longer with us, and I think you'll like Marcy. She's from northern Indiana, close to where I'm from, so I'm from southern. She's from the Amish country. I think this, and I did get a laugh at this. This was cute, but Abbott looked like Queen. Cute. Cute. You guys on Facebook are too good. Love you all, guys. I tell you what, I'm proud of every one of you. I'll tell you the truth. I am so proud of you guys. And I'm hearing every day how much of a difference we're making worldwide. So I want you to all feel good. There's nothing ever wrong to stand up for truth and to stand up for health. There's just nothing. That's the key factors of life here. And, of course, people don't like truth at this level very well. But, you know what, they're going to have a dose of it coming. Karma's speeding up, and you'll see how people are seeing karma whip them in the butt a little quicker now. So, yes, I want you all to have fun with detox, because we have to make this a fun thing. That man is so serious. And now all the cold and flu epidemics, all the people dying, oh, my God. And you almost... If it wasn't so pathetic, it would be laughable. But it is pathetic that our society is still allopathically inclined. These guys are nutsos. And when you're treating cold and flus, like they had so many deaths, what was it, 18 deaths so far or 12 deaths? I'd like to see, one, how many deaths came from the antibiotic use, and two, the suppression of the lymph system. I think this is insane there, and this is what you see. Oh, I want to introduce you to Marcy. Scoot on over here, sweetheart, and say a hello.
Hello.
This is Marcy. And she's from northern Indiana. You got us both in here? Cool. Hey, you're the cameraman. Don't move it too far. You don't want to make people upset.
That's perfect.
So we'll talk, and you get a chance to see Marcy and know Marcy. Now, we're talking about having fun with detox and all that, but I got some bad news. Yep. Look at this. The case against detoxing. Isn't that something? I think it just helps remind me to never forget the planet you're on. 47% of the people are unconscious. I mean, this is insane. I mean, you know what? And thanks, Zoe. Thanks for sending this to me, because I've seen this before, and it's like it's regurgitating, it's vomitous. But this is the reason there's so much misinformation. And you know why this article was written? To sell a product. They're selling a product here, and that's what's wrong with the human state. It's so out of mind. You have people tearing down detoxification. Well, I have news for them. There's nothing else out there, and that's what nature uses to heal itself. So anybody that says stuff like this has their head so far up their butt, they don't know what they're just not living life. And to sell product, and I remember reading one of these one time, and in the product sales, it was a detoxifier. And the headlines was just like this: a case against detoxification. Pulling poisons out, and it's going to make it worse, blah, 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 blah. Well, let's do the medical thinking. Let's just keep all this crap inside of us. Mm-hmm. Let that be our next cancer for us. That's the kind of disgusting thing that we see here.
Right.
Is people out there talking like this. And that's what I always liken this planet like Star Wars. You ever see Star Wars? I don't know if you ever have, but
if I say no, I may shut off a bunch of
living way back in the woods. You know, like we said yesterday, you know, when you're from the country. Now with the honey boo-boos out and the turtle mans and gator mans, the question is, when someone tells me they're from the country, my next reply is, how far back? How far back are you? So you guys, we did appreciate the fact that you liked that little round table. That was just a little bit. We won't pan the camera so much, but we're trying to bring it up another notch, and we're going to sit around and do a round table here. And these are just some of the comments from that, and they were really nice comments, and we thank you so much. I'm glad you got to see Jennifer and her legs. Yeah, you know, the guys around here have a hard time working, that's for sure. There's a lot of beautiful women around here. So it's just it's nice to see you like that, Drew. Such a good guy, you know, and we're all trying. You know, we're just simply trying. We don't know all the answers. So we get frustrated with cases just like you guys would. There's just frustration out there because we're waking up to a very chronic period of time in the human evolution of their health, or the health de-evolution of their health. And so we're facing various serious lymphatic issues.
Yes.
And this is a very serious thing. And I just think that the work you all are doing out there can't be measured. The love you're giving people, the respect you're giving people, because if you want that in your life, you have to give it. You know, you reap what you sow. What you put out there, you get back. And so that's why we must be examples of the God state. We must put ourselves out with truth and honesty and integrity, and that be our way. And that makes life fun, because then we live by truth. You live by truth. And there's nothing better than living by truth, as much as you know of it. Yeah. Because truth is always changing the more aware you become. There's no question. You know, there's no one that's totally aware of everything simultaneously. The mind can't even be aware of itself like that. So it's really a process of awakening that builds our awareness and our integrities, and because we get back what we give. And I've always said to you the other day, this is the failing of a lot of churches and just all religions around the world, is not teaching that very fundamental principle in physics, that for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Remember, I've talked about this before. Jesus said you reap what you sow. Buddha, simple karma. All says the same thing. You know, just give out what you want back. And if you want hell back, give hell forth. Oh. Now, I wanted to go through some of these because there was a lot of comments here, and I want to tell all of you guys, thank you for your comments. To save time, I apologize, I won't read all your names, but all of you are just so beautiful. Thank you all for your comments. Blackout, Health Song, all you guys, and all you beautiful people, thank you so much. We appreciate all that. Now, someone asked me about menopause issues, hormonal problems, aches and pains, mood swings and migraines, etc. Any comment? Comment from the cheering section? Yeah.
Well, we all know that most of those go back to the adrenals. And you've got to get that adrenal strengthened and get it taken care of so that you can reverse those issues.
Absolutely. You know, there's two systems in the body that are also crashing besides the lymphatic system and the gut, which the gut is the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, the bowels. Those are failing people right off. The kidneys and adrenals are big time going down fast. But the rest of the endocrine glands are too. I mean, look at all the thyroid problems. Look at the parathyroid. A lot of people didn't know about parathyroid. That's what I love about these YouTubers. They're smart. They get it. And that's what's important. Remember your bones, calcium utilization, thyroid, parathyroid. So when a woman runs low in calcium, depression is the answer, especially when she's had babies. We talked about that. Your babies take all your calcium, and your parathyroid helps put this back. Well, imagine being a mom that's had 2, 3, 4 babies. All your calcium's going toward the baby, not all, but you know, your calcium's going toward your babies, and you can't put it back in your body because your parathyroid is weak. That's called postpartum depression. And so you have to fix that. Hot flashes, go to the thyroid gland, controls body temperatures. But who controls everything? And that includes a woman's monthly cycle. The pituitary. Mm-hmm. And when the pituitary's down, so is everybody else, generally speaking. So you have to look at this. A woman that has irregular periods, that's their pituitary. It can be ovarian, but you know what? Pituitary. So pituitary is a big deal. Pituitary produces TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, PTH, parathyroid stimulating hormone, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. That's the ovaries. So you see the pituitary is a big deal for such a little fella.
About the size?
Of the top of that.
Yep.
Amazing. If you guys ever have a chance to go to that body exhibit from China, the cat's meow. Every university should have that. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't.
Oh, you've got to. It's an incredible exhibit. It gives you the chance to look at tissue firsthand, and it's just really impressive. They've cut the body about an inch or so horizontally and vertically.
I've heard of it.
They have every system there. They even took out the vascular system and have it hanging. But they lack one system that they did not have. One system, and can we all guess which one that is? They did not have the lymphatic system represented. It's nothing. It's nothing, right? It's where we're battling all these cancers. We get them in here with the leukemias too, lymphatic leukemia. Well, what's that mean? You know, and that's a problem. So for women, you want to make sure your pituitary. Now, what would be another sign of a pituitary problem? Too short or too tall? Absolutely. We've been seeing that, right? Too short or too tall. These are other signs and symptoms of that. Growth hormone factors, absolutely. The adrenals and estrogen and progesterone. Systemic estrogen. Ovaries for ovarian estrogen and progesterone. So the importance of having menopausal issues and things like this goes back to the same thing. What's causing it? If you know the tissue, the thyroid, the parathyroid, the pituitary, ovaries, whatever, you can take a glandular to help those, right? Mm-hmm. But what really is causative, it's outside of genetic memories as the genetics keep decaying in these cells, what else could be causing the decay of that? What system, what problem are we doing? What's happening to the human body to see all these tissues fail? And it takes you right back to the body's lymphatic system. Right back. Because that's the system that deals with the acid side. That's the system that suppresses, decays, suffocates, makes hard, makes swelling, makes pain. That's the side. You don't go to the blood, you go to the lymphatic side. And so this is real important. You know, I was privileged to talk to a female college professor that taught A&P, and she told me she felt the same way, that the medical view is bizarre at the very least and unscientific at the very most, because you just have to understand how chemistry works to understand how the body protects itself big time against the acid side of chemistry. Actually, a lot of people die from the protection efforts of the body to fight acids. So what are the three protective actions that the body uses, at least the three top protective actions the body uses to fight acidosis? Cholesterol, right? LDL specifically, but lipids will do, right? LDL, all right? So that's what your adrenal steroids. And anytime you see, guys, weak adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys, and they control your autonomic nervous system, produces over probably 100 steroids maybe. But 25 of them are what? For mineral utilization. So these are big deals. So when you take a look at this lymph system, you have to understand that that system is the one that's suppressing everything and shutting everything down. And that's the system that's not understood well. And you have to understand these three protective measures: cholesterol, calcium, and water edema. So this is what you see, and this is what people die from. Heart attacks, strokes, congestive heart failure, that's the edema, pulmonary edema, the cholesterol side, of course, and then the calcium side. Same thing as strokes and heart attacks, calcifications, right? Stenosis, hardening of the arteries, things like that.
You take somebody who's very acidic, who drinks too much water, which everybody's saying, drink half your water weight.
Yeah.
You take somebody who's highly acidic and they drink too much water, they're going to bloat up.
I told them in the earlier videos about a case where we had in a nursing home where the court had sent this lady with ALS in there. She was a very wealthy lady at one time. Not so anymore, because guess who took all her money and then dumped her into the court system? Yeah, the medical doctors, the healers of life, right? And so they dumped her, took all her money, dumped her, and of course when I got her, she was like this. Her chin was starting to grow to her shoulder. Her legs were so tight, you couldn't clean her, anything like that. So we have a film of that where as the days progress, we had a feeding tube. And so as the days progressed, her head lifted up off her shoulders, her legs went open. She started regenerating. We got to where she was almost talking, and we had to change the feeding tube. And so we sent her to the medical doctor to change the feeding tube. And she told the lady that took care of her, this lady suffered enough. That's all he said to her, and ordered like 500 cc's of water every hour. Well, when I got the call that night, this lady was speaking in tongues. And I thought she was having an out-of-body experience at first, until I said, put the phone up to her, let me hear it. And no, she was gurgling. And I said, what the hell happened? And they told me the story. And I said, stop. It's too late. She drowned. And that a medical doctor flat out killed her on purpose. And so you have to understand the things about water. We have a reason when we say things here, and it's not just our belief systems. It's what we see in actual people, in tens and tens of thousands of people we worked on through the years. We see this. So good point.
Get your water from your fruits.
Yep.
The water from the fruits, they have pure energy in them.
Yep. That's it. That's mineralized, energized water, basically. Absolutely. All these good comments. Now, someone asked me about, would you expand on your opinions about probiotics? No, don't like them. You don't have to seat bacteria. Bacteria seats in the body per food you eat. You know, and it's the same thing with digestive time and everything. Everything is an individual on this planet, including the fruits and the vegetables. Everybody digests a little different. Everybody has its own, basically. So fungus, there is a certain amount of fungus in the body that's essential for fermentation issues. There's this bacteria is very essential, and you don't really have to seat that. I find this is basically for people that are trying to treat problems and symptoms. Instead of tearing that body apart, cleaning it out, rebuilding the cells, and you're done. These are microbes, meaning you can't see them because you need a microscope that has a little power to it, generally electron, to see these boogers. And that means they come in and out as you breathe. So trying to fight that, and there was a doc, I think, that wrote a book called about the terrain. And I say the same thing in culturing mediums. Same thing. This is about culturing mediums. Look at all the colds, and I started this off talking about all the cold and flus and all the hype, go out and get your flu shot crap and all this stuff. What they're doing to all the kids and all the people are locking all this congestion in them. Go ahead and have this beautiful milk. It's good for you. Go ahead and do all this stuff and let us take care of you. Boy, are the negative forces hot. If people like that knew they were being channels for the negative forces, they would back away because they just don't understand. It's an unconscious thing. I understand that. But it's time we become more conscious. Don't you think? I think.
It reminds me of when I was driving this morning, there was a lot of fog, and my windows just kept getting thicker and thicker and thicker with fog, and it hindered my driving ability. Mucus, milk, goes in and causes mucus, and it hinders, it coats everything, it hinders what your body is supposed to do.
Yeah, think of all the pressure you get in the sinuses and the congestion and pressures in the lungs if you don't take mucus. Think of just putting a real thick blanket over your head and then try to breathe right. So when you put this all around the cells, you can imagine after a while the cells aren't too happy, and then when they can't discharge their waste anymore, it becomes intracellular acidosis. That's what really damages the DNA of a cell, is when it becomes intracellular acidosis. Till then, it's inflammation, meaning on the outside of the cell. But mucus, it just shuts down, and then becomes your mass, your tumor, and all this stuff, and they wonder why. Thanks, Shannon, but I'm really not into that. You can if you want. A lot of people get extreme gastric distress with this. Jensen loved that, and he always passed gas and everything else. Just too much, too much. We're trying to do too much. But thank you all so much. Now, this is a case where they were diagnosed. They put it this way. I can't even pronounce that. So this way, they have hives breakout whenever I exercise, get stressed, increase in body temperatures. Allopathic doctor says I should take a cocktail of antihistamines. Yeah, let's take a deadly cocktail of stuff, right? And let's stop your body from trying to clean itself. That's what we have to understand in allergies and things like this. You know, whatever it takes to trip your body to start expectoration, it does not matter. Whenever you start having mucus coming out, when you start to see hives popping out all over you, you can just about guess their lymph systems are a mess. Because notice, it happens it happens when the adrenals are under stress, shutting down the kidneys even more. Then their lymph system is even more explosive. And this is a good case. Allergies, hives, things like this, guys. What system? You're not going to the blood. Your immune system is just a bunch of cells. They're not whacked out. This is your terrain. This is your culturing medium that's coming back at you. Your body's very low, and imagine your adrenal glands are very, very low, and you're low in steroids to help the body deal with this. So this is a good chance to get your adrenals up, get your kidneys up, and really start moving that lymph system, and then you won't have this problem anymore. Seen a lot of it. But we could overdose them with antihistamines and antibiotics.
Well, there's just an example of suppressing instead of eliminating.
Exactly. Another great example. And I've always said this, real easy to understand. What you suppress today is your nightmare from hell tomorrow. And there's a lot of people with tumors all on them that get it. And that's the problem. Getting it too late isn't a lot of fun. So thanks for that, Alex. And take care of yourself. Get those adrenals up, kidneys filtering, and move those lymphs. Now, this is another one from John. My glands seem to be in good shape. Good. And I don't need glandulars, but I'm trying to manipulate them to my benefit. Here is a scenario. I wanted your take on, if I take a pituitary glandular on a daily basis, will it release growth hormones? I figured some of this. Well, look at the National Football League now. They're chewing on antler because it doesn't show up as a steroid, and so they're chewing on antler because it's a it's an adaptogen. It's a proliferator. So the same. You can, but here's the thing, guys. These glandulars are only meant to use short term to enhance the function of the gland and come off. We sometimes over-enhance the function of glands, and then medical doctors freak out when they get their blood work and the TSH, for an example, taking a pituitary glandular, is off the roof. Suddenly the patient's going to die. You got to get him in an emergency. Don't want to walk out. You got to come in here emergency. I say, She's asymptomatic. You just run the TSH up a little bit with the glandular. Got to be careful with those. They are stronger than what people realize. They're just meant to enhance the cells of the glands and then get off of them. But this person wants to gain weight in training. So I have to say this. Why would you not be able to gain weight? What would be the obvious issue in not being able to gain weight? Malabsorption. And if you have malabsorption, you are not going to gain weight the way you like it and have health associated with it. If you try to pump proteins or put on fat with grains, you're not going to be a happy camper because all of those are acidic moves on an already acidic and clogged up body. So it takes a little while to correct this problem, and a lot of people don't like to get too skinny, and I don't blame them. But you got to correct the problem. If you don't, you'll have a lifetime of crap. And being the lymph system, it just keeps getting worse. So then colon cancers or some type of cancers in the body come because the lymph system can no longer drain at all.
You want a healthy muscle, not a weak muscle.
Exactly. And this, let me see what else. Would I get the same results with higher doses of chaste tree berry? I would rather go to the chaste tree berry route. I definitely would. Then I think that the body regulates its own ability with that, and I don't think you can overdo it because it's a berry. So I would definitely go the chaste tree berry route. Definitely, I like that route when you're thinking about a longer term use. If you've got, and we see this all the time, we see major chronic adrenals hooked to the transverse colon, right? Remember in the iris pictures? Oh, look, my buttons on. Are you trying
wasn't going to say anything.
Are you trying to get into my shirt? There's nothing in there anyway. It's old stuff in there. Also wanted to ask you about adrenal glandulars. If I person with a healthy 120 blood pressure takes them solely for the purposes of extra energy and does so every day, do they run the risk of burning out their adrenals? Well, I'd say that 120 on the top isn't all the indicators of weak adrenal glands. Make sure that, everything's good with energy and steroids and good testosterone and everything else. I'll say that I think if you go too much in a gland, you'll push it the other way. And this is what we've seen with some of the, I was talking about you this the other day about the electrical machines and stuff. When you pump too much energy or too many glandulars, and I found this, I was telling you guys I found this with the parathyroid. Too much with that, and you start to go the other way, you lose calcium. So there's just that knowing when to hold them and when to fold them. And I've been talking to them about this for years. And it comes down, even spills down into the glandulars. Know when to use them, know when to come off of them. And you really want to use them short term. Whenever I can get someone off a glandular, I do. I will say, though, I usually keep people on adrenal glandulars for up to a year or two. I have been, because it's so chronic, that works with that.
And as long as we're talking about weightlifting issues and things like that, if somebody has a weak parathyroid, I would really caution them on how they pump iron and stuff, because the parathyroid deals with the connective tissue and the structural part of the body. And we just talked with a young lady the other day.
Popped a hernia.
Because her parathyroid was too weak, and she was only doing Pilates. But she didn't have, her connective tissues were too weak.
Exactly. And that's what's so good about these guys, because they're learning stuff like this, and they won't fall to this because they're taking care of themselves. Where society is not helping anybody with this kind of information, and you need to know. This is a need to know because of how many people are getting hurt, and we need to stop that. I think the positive needs to come in, and we need to bring it in. And bring that positive energy in and change this negative thing that's going on here, and start bringing love and energy and a sense of power and strength to the individual, not narcissism, but strength of consciousness, strength of godliness, that sort of thing. Yeah, so thanks for that, John. Now, I'm watching the channel for a long time. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that, Paulina. However, the health issue is regarding my niece. She is 10 months old. Oh, man. And have been suffering from allergies. All right, so we just talked about, see how these kind of run, kind of neat that way? Talking about allergies again, developing rashes and loose stools 5 times a day. Well, here's another case here where I see 2 things right off. The allergies, of course, is definitely going to be the lymph system. But a lot of these, I don't know what you're feeding her, breast milk, but you got to see what the mama's eating. Even with some breast milk, babies just don't tolerate it well because they're compromised hepatic, which is liver, gallbladder area. Even the pancreas, the GI tract is a mess with the liver, pancreas, and spleen hooked to it is a mess, and then the kidneys and adrenals are a mess in most people. And if you see the eyes, as we go over the eyes here, the one thing you can count on is always GI tract problems. And you can always count on adrenal problems and almost always kidney problems. So it's just one of those things you see. So this is 10 months old, got to get her off milks, breast milk and everything else. And you saw Jennifer talking about her children. And listen, her children are way out there, above average in every way, shape, or form. And we have another grandson that's... But this guy is, I call him warrior dude. And he's not a warrior dude without brains. He's a warrior dude with brains. And I don't know if he's sent there to help us or what, but he's already, I don't know. We're going to have some good beings coming here to help us. The loose stools for 5 times a day suggest that not dealing with the fat in the milk. And so this is the time this baby should be on fruit. Should have been on fruit 6 months ago. So this is the time to introduce him to fruits and berries and melons and really get moving on that. Coconut milk, things like this, or coconut water, things like this, and get them away from these milk because you're going to have to. This baby's suffering too much. So you're going to have to stop breastfeeding, in my opinion, and go to something that's a little more food-based. And I'm saying that milk isn't food-based, but a little too concentrated for this 10-month-old right now.
And 10 months old is old enough to be on fruits, to be even eating. You don't even, mashed bananas and all that stuff. Listen, my grandson was like 4 months eating fruits and just, loving them. And got to remember that fruits and berries mature the brain, nervous system, and endocrine glands. So, despite what people think out there, these foods are some of the most powerful on the planet. We need to give fruit its due name, and we also need to get the growers to be aware of they're growing crap food. Start growing better fruits so we all can be happier.
And that's what's going on here. But my sister suspects it may be gone soon. Well, your sister's delusional. No offense, Pauline, but your sister's delusional.
She means the breast milk.
Oh, the breast milk. Okay, she's not delusional. Let's get her gone now then. Because this allergies never go away. They get worse and worse and worse, and then cancer comes in. Oh, my God. So sister needs to stop the milk and get into the fruits and stuff and get this baby. Now, this baby is going to detoxify a little bit here, being this congested with the allergies and rashes. So this baby's going to detoxify a little bit. Don't freak out. Fever's a part of that. Babies love 104, 105. Keep them cooled down. Cool bath to about 103 and let them detoxify. Keep fluids going in. Fruit juices, fresh fruit juices. This baby should be doing fresh applesauce too. Yeah, and you could give a few drops of lymphatic 1 and a few drops of kidney number 1 too to this 10-month-old.
And the superfoods.
And the superfood, you can
and
do
the
that.
Applesauce would be
oh
wonderful.
My God, this baby, you can pull this baby out of this. If not, this baby's headed for some serious lymphatic problems. Even when she breastfeeds only and avoids all gluten, eggs, meat, etc., allergens, she still gets these symptoms. Well, it's too late. The mother already passed her lymph system to the baby, so that's what's important. She tries to give her carrots, apples, peaches, different kinds of fruits and vegetables, and everything gives her these symptoms. They will. You got to realize that detoxification is going to be a process, not symptom-free. So, yeah, you're going to see the same symptoms, but this little baby needs the lymph system cleaned real bad, and now's the time to start doing it before she gets into more serious trouble. We're seeing brain tumors in these babies, liver cancer in these babies. We had a 7-month-old liver cancer case. So, this is time to wake up for the mothers and start working this and understanding detox. Try other fruits. Try the banana. It's not a real aggressive fruit, but at the same time, you want to detoxify your baby, sweetheart. Sorry about the delusional thing, but still, a lot of people are delusional out there. What can we give her to eat if it's so bad now? Will it be gone with the time? Will you try to get down like the more simple fruits, the less astringent fruits? And that that's coming up because I'm going to address that here about astringents. But more astringent fruits and stuff, and work her out of this, which she's going to have, or he's going to have some healing crisis, and you can't avoid them.
And don't fear them.
Yeah, don't fear them. Yep. And you could do some cooked vegetables. This is a growing baby. And this baby needs living nutrition to mature the brain and the nervous system so you don't have any trouble with them later, Mom. What you do now is instrumental to what you're going to have in the future. And remember, you don't have jurisdiction over your baby.
And remember, fruits are the scrubbers, vegetables are the builders. Don't mix them, but utilize them.
Absolutely. Reclaim, Clara, Mother Nature Heals, Organic Superman, Bliss, Happiness, Hollywood. Thank you all, guys. Thank you all so much for your comments. The quicker people realize doctors are a business. Hello. I've said this before, and again, the head of the American Medical Association said to 60 Minutes, let buyer beware. Let buyer beware. That freaked me out when I heard it. It's like, what? You don't consider patient, loving person, sick person no buyer? Buyer in the medical field? Well, if I'm not mistaken, the FDA has made similar comments about pharmaceutical companies.
When you're looking for a doctor and you're dealing with your health, there's really no such thing as buyer's remorse. You just need to, once you've gone down that path, it's awful hard to go back. You need to be smart going into it and know up front. You know yourself better than anybody sitting in that chair trying to tell you it doesn't really understand you.
Look at this. This is from Bliss, Happiness. In Europe, we have a rather outstanding fruit selection. Dang it! Even in winter.
And you don't like to travel.
Not anymore, because I can't eat good. Look at, they have all these fresh fruits. It's disgusting. Good luck, guys. I'm glad you do.
Yes.
And I hope for the whole world we do. Because where we can have good fresh fruits and berries, it's nectar. It's just totally nectar. When you have a great organic fruit, it just puts a smile on your face like a beautiful flower with a beautiful fragrance. It puts a loving smile on your face. This is so good. All the animals are happy when they eat. We should be happy when we eat. We enjoy the taste and oops. Yep. Fruits rule. White nectarines. White nectarines. Wow, I thought that was pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Now, Scott. Great roundtable vid. Thank you. Can't get enough of you guys. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like today, I got by on 2 medium papayas, a bag of frozen mango chunks, and a bag of frozen blueberries. Feels like rest is more important than food right now. Any thoughts? Absolutely. You know, I'm just learning this lesson so much about rest. And I've told you this, guys, before. Remember, primates rest 40% of the day. We don't rest enough. We're not happy enough. We're stressed. We're overtaxed. We're over everything. And it's these governments, right? It's this narcissistic intellectualism. That's where you trace it all to. You know, my concepts of the way we should live is socialism or communism. You know, very few have republic thinking. Even democracy. People don't know what democracy really means. But a republic, you do everything to save the republic. Not anymore.
Well, look, God created night for a reason. So we wouldn't work 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Night came, especially hundreds of years ago, when there wasn't electricity. You know, night came and people rested. They got their things finished up. They went to bed. They rose with the sun.
The old farmer dudes. Oh, absolutely. I did that living in my van. Dark came. I got sites that didn't have power at times because I didn't really have any power in my Volkswagen van. And so I was, a few hours after dark, I was down and up at the crack of dawn. And that rhythm felt really good to be with the rhythm of the earth. Absolutely. But, we have time zones now. I know, it's funny here. Now, I just came back to finish this vid. Dr. Moore shares that it takes experience, not book knowledge. Well, you know what? I have to tell you guys, and that's what I hope to depart on you guys, and then I'm going to be learning from you guys too. I want to hear what they're getting into, because I think we need a massive effort to become one, to share, to love each other, and to say, hey, look, I found this works, let's try it. I'm not closed to trying new things, but there's certain routes that I'm not even going to bother with because they're never effective. And I'm not going to go down them because it's a waste of thinking, it's a waste of all that.
Right.
Yeah. Jennifer is a pretty woman, there's no question about that. Thanks so much. It wasn't me they're talking about. That Jenny's funny. If there are forces out there that do not want this information dispersed, then why do they allow it on YouTube? It's a question that I have had for months. Well, don't say it too loud. I applaud the YouTube people for standing up for truth. I really do. Because if we as companies don't stand up for truth and protect ourselves, we won't be companies anymore, and then people won't have access to anything. And that's the plan, though, is to keep people stupid. The World Bank don't want you to know who the World Bank is. They don't want you to know really what's going on out here. And so we're not going to be stupid, are we? This is the Internet's still available for a while. For a while, and so we have to be strong, and I applaud you too for being strong. We have to drastically change the way we look at our healthcare systems, because we can't keep going. It's crashing in on itself already. And perhaps you look at the harm and all this. It's karma, and and you kind of have to be somewhat detached. But I'm here, and I have a hard time being detached totally when it comes to suffering and out and outright destruction of human tissue with pharmaceuticals. I think that the FDA is so far out of their bounds and their jurisdictions, and they don't care. They're like a bulldozer. Like I said, this FDA guy was at a seminar in Las Vegas the other day, telling the crowd that you can't put testimonials on the website. If I was there, I would have stood up, got the group to stood up, went up, grabbed that guy off the stage and threw him outside and said, go to Washington and tell your cronies, stop it, or we're coming to get you. Good old-fashioned. I'm a good old-fashioned farm boy. We went back to the barn and got whipped once in a while. I don't think these guys are above that. A good whooping in the back of a barn might change their thinking.
Spare the rod, spoil the...
That's right. I mean, But you just have to stop that because it's so powerful, you know.
And you have to stand up for your rights and for yourself because...
Stand up for truth.
Yeah.
If you stand up for truth everywhere, and I've been in front of a lot of federal judges, and I stood there with truth, and they corrupted themselves right in front of themselves, and I'm thinking, you know what? You're sending a bad message to everyone that there's no remedy anymore for the citizen. That's why the federal judge, one of the things he said, it wasn't a federal, I think it was a state judge in Texas, said, you know, revolution coming. Why did I love these guys? Yeah, YouTube is one of the greatest resources available, and I think so. I think YouTube stands on the top. I love these guys. It's a great place for information and knowledge. I hope YouTube stands strong and lasts a long time here because they are a great bunch of people, no question about it. This form, oh good, I'm glad you like the format. We're going to have bigger round tables and stuff. There was just so much of this, and then the Scott came. I teach people to eat fruits on an empty stomach or before meals because I noticed that eat fruits after a large meal, and I think it's backwards. Yeah, I know we never talked a lot about proper food combinations here, but you definitely don't mix fruit with anything. It's just not smart because this is about who digests first. Who digests the fastest? Does fruit digest faster than grains? Does fruit digest faster than meat? Does fruit digest... Because there is a sense that you can eat fruits with meat, but in reality, meat is very difficult to digest and has an acid digestive hit at first. So fruits always need to go down first. I agree. This is a very important comment, too, by the way, is that keep your fruits separate. And I would even keep them separate then out of my green drinks. Especially if you notice bloating or gas, things like this, you're mixing the wrong foods together. And really, you know, I talk about the rainbow salad and everything, but truly, it is better to eat simplistically because each food digests its own pace. It's better to eat very simple, just a few different fruits at a meal. You'll feel better, you'll feel more energy because your body's not burdened with, well, we got to, you know, all of that. Works better. You can feel it on yourself. You really feel these things. It's like we have one lady, she's got to be over 500 days now on juices.
Yes.
Had it been fruit juices, amazing, but it is the combination. Had it been fruit juices, it would have been a different story. And I think she's going to move up into the fruit juices more and more and more. But with that comes major sensitivity to lower vibrations.
Yeah.
So for her to break this, and babe, you got to go slow breaking this, honey.
The only exception to the fruit, would you say, was the apple?
That's what we're talking about there. Exactly. The apple is the only exception. That apple will, it actually, if you mix wrong, like protein and starches, that's your worst combination, in my opinion, is protein and starch combination. The FAA investigated a plane crash in Colombia one time, killed 69 passengers and 13 crew members. They checked that, everything. They did autopsies. They checked everything. And you know what their analysis was in this article? The pilot's breakfast. Now, they didn't comment on fermentation. They didn't comment on what fermentation creates, blood alcohol elevation, things like that. That's why I feel sorry for this mother. And I've talked about this before. This mother that they went wrong way, a van full of kids and a friend going the wrong way on a freeway and, of course, killed everybody. And they blamed her for being a closet alcoholic, and her husband swears them down she wasn't an alcoholic. And then they had an interview with the husband and his attorney, and the attorney said, well, she did have a big sore on her leg that she couldn't heal and stuff. And they really weren't tying. You didn't have any of the experts talking about the fermentation and the blood alcohol levels that occur with wrong eating. And then people that have weak adrenals do not metabolize their sugars well to begin with. So then that even makes it worse. So there's not a lot of conversation about how we ferment our foods and elevate our blood alcohols.
A lot of people pulled over for drunk driving, and it's purely because they've mixed their fruits with something, and it's caused that fermentation, that blood alcohol, or that sugar alcohol.
Yeah. See, they ate the wrong meal. Yeah, and people don't think about that. So good to bring that up, Scott. Protein and starch don't do it, and certain foods digest faster than others. Fruits, berries, and melons. Of course, melons are at the top of that. That's why you hear eat them alone or leave them alone. And it's that way because melons go down quick. If I put anything on top of melons, I have gastric distress for quite a while. And it can just be a banana. So I eat my watermelon first thing in the morning, go out, walk the dog, do some things, and I come back and have bananas or whatever. Let me see. Here's one. Vegetables. Okay, so this one I wanted. This is monkey buttification. All right. Vegetables are not astringent rich. Question. Mustard, collards, kale, mulberry are all astringent rich. Herbs also are astringent. Natural toxins to repel bugs available in most all vegetables are not in fruits. Fruits are astringent before ripening, then the astringents are removed to be palatable to be eaten and spread the seeds. Well, you know, I do disagree with this guy, to be honest with you. Here's a quiz for you. This is a multiple choice. Now, I've got a shower door I haven't cleaned for a year, and the mineral deposits on it is so thick I can't see out that shower door. Would you go get me some collard greens juice and let me clean that shower door off? A, or B, go get me a big bowl of lemon juice. A or B, all right? And so it's the opposite. Fruits have much more astringents. We eat astringents. You eat a citrus fruit, you're eating astringents. They're not gone out of there. Are you kidding? No way. And guess who makes your pucker? Simmons. Persimmons. You know, so this person, in my opinion, I disagree with this, no offense. There are astringents in herbs, absolutely. I use the astringent herbs as lymphatic herbs, to be honest with you. That's why the fruits are more effective in detoxing vegetables, because vegetables don't have more astringents than fruits. I don't know where this came from, but again, this would be another misinformation, in my opinion. I don't care what we found.
You take someone who's detoxing, and then you go to just the vegetables, and they back way off of their detoxing.
Way off. But you would never go clean your shower door with green juices. You would do it with lemons or citruses, and you'll see that your cleansers are astringents. They use lemons in it. They don't use greens, they use lemons because the lemons are strong. Greens don't pucker on the mucosa like lemons do. So I don't know where that came from. Sorry about that, monkey man, but I just disagree. But, you know, good points. What does high protein mean? Any diet, vegetarian or not, as long as it is a varied diet, with always be protein rich. Well, yeah, we've said this before, but the human body is simplistic. We deal well with simple sugars. We deal well with fatty acids, as long as everybody's happy in there. And we deal well with amino acids. Those are the basic forms that nutrition, and those are just simple basic structure nutritions. There's so much in these foods, even vitamins and minerals. There's a fixation on the vitamins and minerals. Minerals are the worst thing, but yet minerals are the life saviors. No, they're not. You know, they're a little electrical, but the more inorganic they are, you want those more in salts than you do in more elementals. Because if you had to say anything, and I disagree how science looks at it, I consider the more elemental a compound is toward the elements, the more inorganic it is. The more combined and synergistically bound, the more organic it is. And that's how I look at it. And so I think it's easier to understand when you look at it that way. Simpler and things like that. Your body doesn't do well with inorganic components. You don't absorb calcium and elemental magnesium, elementals well. That's where chelation, back in the day, chelation started by wrapping an amino acid around a mineral so the body would pull it in, because they don't pull in minerals well. They're not well bioavailable to the body. And so I don't know where these fixations came, because if you hit enough, yeah, you can stimulate. But a good example would be calcium when you have brittle nails. If you take a calcium supplement, you could make your nails strong. You would be giving yourself arthritis probably at the same time. You have to be careful. But stop taking it, and what happens? The nails go right back. So we use a lot of treatment-based thinking, and I'm trying to get these beautiful people away from treatment-based thinking, because it is not a higher level of thinking, and it just doesn't lead to a remedy. Can we say cure? I don't know.
Well, we can say it to each other, but others may not want to hear it.
Yeah, that's true. Here's the monkey buttification again. I disagree about the fruit. Irradiated so enzymes are dead and nutrition lost. This is why banana today will rot before they bruise. Not the ones I get. I don't know what he's getting or where he's talking about, but I do agree with him on irradiation. We're crazy in this world. This is a crazy planet. Let's just super destroy the food. I agree. Does it destroy all the enzymes? Not sure that that's true, because I don't have that problem with the bananas here or anything like that. Just a few years ago, a banana would turn brown and musty. This is good. This is active enzymes. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. You know what I mean? None of us are for radiation or any of that. There's no question. It comes down to the situation of what do we have available in the moment for our wellness. And I can tell you that we've done enough detoxifying through 40 years to tell you that you can go to Walmart, eat your fruits out of Walmart, and still have a great detoxification. But there's no question that the frequencies are lower. There's no question about it, and a lot destroyed. But compared to pasteurized juices and compared to everything else, better. Ideal? No. But those of us that decided to come into this planet on the northern shores, we suffer. The islanders have it made.
Right.
Remember that lady we had from Indonesia?
That's right. I try whenever I can to travel to the islands.
I know it. Well,
if you have a cook, and that cook is a bad cook, but it's the only cook that you have, do you stop eating the foods because it's not the greatest cook? You continue eating because you need to survive. Just because you can't, if you're up north and you can't get organic stuff, it doesn't mean you quit eating it. You wash it, you clean it as much as you can, and you still consume it because you need to survive.
Exactly. And you need to detox and blah, 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 blah. So, I don't know how you stop such a powerful force of negativity other than being the same positivity and get truth as our guiding light, because truth will set you free. This whole thing actually is steeped in allopathy. The fear of microbes have driven people to wear masks everywhere. And the problem is these people never were on a farm. These people never, when they were babies, were allowed to go out and wallow and get bacteria in their body so they could develop natural immunities. They were not allowed to do that. We have the concrete cities now. So this is a big problem, that we don't get people out in the dirt, in the mud, and out playing in the ground. So we interface with the mother here and develop our right immunities and things. And so, yeah, we have problems with all this, no question. We have to stop the concrete thinking. We can have them, but we have to interface with nature in those cities and work this out.
That's right.
And teach people that bacteria isn't the problem, the terrain is.
And if you have the ability to plant your own garden or your own fruit trees, do it. My great-grandmother did her own garden up until she was 102 years old. She lived to be 105.
Damn. That's some good genes you got.
Good genes.
Damn.
She had great genes.
Oh, I love those
but
genes.
she ate the majority of her own food.
See, that's it right there. That's it. When I was 5 years old, I pulled a bowl of hot corn on my chest, neck, and arm and got 3rd and 4th degree burns and was in hospital for 1 month. Got hooked on morphine and went through withdrawals. Crazy. Yeah, but the way they treat in hospitals, I'll say this. The allopathy is by far insane, the way they treat burn victims, let me tell you. You have the way we take care of burns pulls the pain right out of the tissue. We don't have to rip and graft on the body like they do. It's a nightmare the way allopathy thinks they have to treat burns. And a good example, my sister's son did the same thing, but it was a big cup, a big thing of hot coffee all down him. Well, the hospital he went, 3rd and 4th degree burns. And so the nurse was rubbing some salve on these burns. And my sister said, "What's that salve?" And she said, "Well, this is an aloe-based salve." Well, my sister knew I was into health, and I'd talked about aloe before, so she took her baby out of the hospital, used aloe vera, and only had just a little bitty scratch here where a dog had jumped up and scratched him during the process of healing. No scars, no nothing. And I was up with an Amish healer over in Ohio, and well-known one, and he is famous for his burn salve, John Kime.
Oh, John Kime.
You know Johnny? And,
I got a story about John Kime. Good one.
I got some good stories for that. He's one funny dude. And what he's done to people to get them well is it also reminds me of old Jethro Kloss, but worse. You know, he has pulled some people out of some far-reaching places, this guy, but a really good friend. This is a man up in his 80s. You literally can't pinch an inch on this guy. And I've told the story about John Kine before, but he showed me two boys once, an Amish and a non-Amish boy, that gasoline blew up on them, and how John took care of his side, and I tell you, couldn't even tell it. Mm-hmm. And the skin had just dropped down over their wrists, so he just cut it off, you know. And the other boy that went to the hospital was also there. I was lecturing in their barn one time, and it was amazing, the mutation of that arm versus the other one. I'm telling you.
It's sad.
Yeah.
My husband had back surgery this last summer, and a week after he developed an infection, and his scar is about 8 inches long, and about 3.5 of that just stayed open. They did everything they could to close it. 5 weeks later, it still was not closed. I used John Kine's salve with burdock root on there. Within 5 days, it was almost completely closed.
Yeah. I love that. I've got a burn salve coming now. He uses burdock leaves a lot, but he didn't add it into the salve. And I don't know if it was hard to get or what for him, you know. And whoever made his salves, you know, stole it from him. So sad things about that sort of thing. John's such an honest guy, but we have a lot of crooks out there. So I said, John, I'll help you make another salve, and it'll be better than that one.
Yeah.
And you just you sell it for yourself. But I haven't talked to him in a while. I'll probably see him. Willie's going to be down pretty soon, so we'll meet up there at the Deer Ditchman. Big salad bar. I love their salad bar.
That's where I first met you at Northern Nutrition.
Was it really?
Yes.
Northern Nutrition, huh? This is an Amish, huge Amish health food store, healer, up in Shipshewana, Indiana. Yeah. I go up there. He's been a friend of mine for years. I go up there and lecture every other year or so.
Started my journey. I met you there, signed up for your class, and here I am.
No kidding. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I like to go up there every once in a while, you know, and just meet all the guys. Got hooked on morphine. That's sad, crazy. I remember then bathing me in a tub of water, bleach. They bathed him in bleach. Oh my God. And scrubbing my burns with wire brush to get the dead skin off. Holy crap.
No wonder they put him on morphine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now my skin looks like it has melted thick and red. That's my point. I am now 48 and I'm still healing. You poor soul. Okay, here's the thing. You know, rip into your lymph system, son. Get in there, get the adrenals up, that'll get your steroids up, get your kidneys up, and really take this raw foods to the nth degree, and you'll regenerate that skin. Even scar tissue can rebuild itself, but you got to be up there. And I would use the skin formula. You can use some topical things, but I'm not so much topical. This is an internal healing thing that needs to take place, and let that skin breathe. It's about moving, sweating, stuff like that, and open this up and keep detoxifying. Fruits. And you'll regenerate that skin, man. I mean, just really keep going and make your body, get that body up into those higher levels of regeneration, because that's something a lot of you haven't seen yet. And we're going to show you some cases as time goes on here.
Would you recommend the skin formula?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Great skin formula.
Yeah, and definitely get the kidneys and adrenals, get that lymph moving, and get that alkaline healing chemistry. This is good where the bones formula, make sure your parathyroid is up there, and this is where the bones formula is instrumental in helping to regenerate tissue. Comfrey, whether the FDA likes it or not. Comfrey, a great knit bone. Just great for tissue, just a great healer. So
the bones formula is good for post-surgery. If you have to have surgery, get the bone formula to take afterwards. It helps with healing.
Yep. But isn't that sad? 5 years old. The medical doctors put him through that. And it's just barbaric. And yet they got their chests out. We have the best burn centers in the world. But bull crap.
I'm sure you guys caught that, but he started this at 5, and he's 48, and he's still healing.
That's ridiculous.
43 years in this process.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. We've seen it where the skin just dropped over the wrist, like I said, and new tissue rebuilt, beautiful as you please, no scarring. That's the difference between the natural approach and some thinking that we have to scrape scans and do all kinds of crap. I've seen what they do in hospitals. It's a night, and the poor suffering. Remember the poor kid, these kids threw gas all over him and about killed him? Oh my God, he looks horrible. Where what we could do with that, I mean, it just makes you sick. Makes you sick. Can you give tips to replace, remove ibuprofen? Can you tell me some natural pain relievers, etc.? Thank you. Well, there's the problem we have, is that the scope of our ability to work with pain meds is limited by the FDA, of course. Naturopaths used to be able to work with narcotics, and we need to do a lot more with pain with that. I use our pain formula and the antispasmodic formula, and both of those help for moderate pain. But this kind of pain this young chap was going through was a morphine pain, and I don't think that got rid of his pain. It probably just took the edge off of it. Mm-hmm. You don't get rid of that pain when they're scraping your skin that was been burnt. Mm-mm. It's just sickening. Well, you dropped me off on this planet.
Mm-hmm. The pain formula and the antispasmodic formula mixed is great for headaches and, I'd say minimal pain, not
not real strong pain. You got to go to the pharmaceuticals. But really, if we in this day's time, we need pharmaceuticals. There's no question about it in today's world. But they should not have the ability to kill you or do serious harm to you. But we do need them, no question. Man's got himself so far up. We send people to the ER all the time. You got to, we need the medical profession in the emergency side to help us, because they got them so far out. We need their help to help us get them back sometimes, because some people get way out there before their head turns to us. And then they expect us to save them, and they're hanging on with a shoestring. And it's like, oh. So our stress levels are up there because of that, no question. And that's why your guys' job is so important to this planet, that we end this kind of ridiculous, I don't know what you call it, torture.
But come out of that thinking for a minute and think about what your pain is. The majority, now we're not talking a broken bone or anything like that, but the majority of people's pain is due to inflammation and acid. And so if you have to, for a moment, go to the pharmaceutical, start cleaning yourself out and getting rid of why that pain is there.
Mm-hmm. Even from trauma. Even from trauma.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where the pain comes from. Alkaline is anti-pain. Anything alkaline is anti-pain. Cold, anything like that's anti-pain. Whenever you put heat to an inflammatory place, which is all inflammation is just acidosis. Yeah, it's an immune response, but it is always to acidosis. Go to the causative factors always. Yeah. And help remove that, even in trauma, and you'll be good. But which system removes the trauma?
Lymphatic.
Wait a minute, wait. That's it! That's it! That's it. Can you share your knowledge on bee pollen? Love it. Royal jelly is my little favorite. That's why I put it in the God's Garden Superfood Blend, because I love royal jelly. Bee pollen's got all the goodies. There's a lot of claims, of course. You can probably Google all that, but love it. I don't know how young you can be to take this. Some people claim babies can't handle it because of allergies and blah, blah, blah. We've got to start remembering terrain, culturing medium, in other words. Got to remember the lymph systems. That's all you got to remember. And when you can't tolerate something, 9 times out of 10, it's the body's lymphatic system, where you have the weak adrenals and weak steroids, blah, 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 blah. And notice that when you have problems, steroids are commonly given. Don't my body produce steroids? Well, then how come my body isn't helping me? Duh. So yeah, absolutely. It dawned on me that maybe it's the bee pollen that is stimulating my adrenals. Well, they claim that bee pollen is good for the adrenals. You know what? I don't find anything wrong with that whatsoever. All right, so this is from Angry American. Look at that. Isn't that cool? This guy is a patriot. Bush sucked and Obama is making it worse. Hey, I'm with you, man. Do you know anything about the NDAA bill that Obama signed into law? Oh, God, here's another one. Obama increased the number of troops in Afghanistan. There are 20,000 troops still in Iraq. Guantanamo Bay is still open. Americans are still being spied on with warrantless wiretaps. Under Bush, the debt was $9 trillion. Do a search for CBS News. Debt on increased under Obama. Ron Paul would have been the best choice to fix this. Well, I'll tell you. I'm a Ron Paul man 100%. I thought Ron is just a little too old he should have came out with all the power that he could. Tell the people the truth about the misapplication of the income tax laws. Tell them the truth about the World Bank and what they've done with our gold and everything else in America and what they're doing to Europe and what their goal is. But what happened to Ron? He got shut out. The media is as responsible for this as anything. At least Fox News put Ron Paul up more than most people, but still, should have put his son up. I think some of these young senators, they were a little intimidated, but I think either Ron Paul or some of these younger guys like Mark Rubio and stuff like that, these are really good-hearted people. Rubio knows what it's like to be poor and to come up, and that's what we need. We can no longer get rich people in power, because rich people, out of touch. So I agree 100% with Angry American.
Did you notice he actually wanted you to comment? I think this was just an afterthought. He wanted you to comment on this.
No,
why.
that's this.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I probably talked about that on that video.
Gotcha.
And that's okay. Well, I know a lot of the YouTubers are not from this country, from America. And, there are some that are in beautiful places out there. And then there's some people in hellholes. So it's just a mess all over the place. The reason I think in our country that we're so open to voice our opinion is that we were raised to think we were free. Like the lady when Russia kind of fell and they started dividing it up, and she was asked, now that you're free, how does it feel? And the lady turned to the news man that was asking her and said, well, I never knew I wasn't free. And that's the problem. As long as you think you're free, but those that have a little higher awareness know what's up, and I think that's the problem. A lot of people are sleeping out there, and this is by the time most people get what Angry American is saying, it's almost too late. I don't believe we have a constitution anymore. I think that's just loose talk in the air. All right. Louise, hi. I have some questions about which herbs I should start with if I have Lyme disease. Okay. So Lyme, lupus, fibromyalgia, arthritis, lump them all in the same category. What is it? Systemic acidosis. Systemic acidosis. Now let's look at this. Because you can blame Lyme, you can blame everything. Not everybody's been bitten by a tick. Although virals pass just like any microbes, although people are not quite sure what the virals are, right? So here's the other symptoms. Let's figure this one out. Dizzy. Where's that coming from? Cerebellum. Brain fog. Where's that coming from? Brain. Tired all the time. Adrenals. Can't work or go to school. All the above. Bad memory. Brain. Lost vocabulary. Not good. Acne in face. Now she's starting to tell why she's having these problems. Acne on the face, chest and back. Not the classic ones that you can squeeze. So, automatically, dear one, you know your lymph system, sweetheart, is backed up in your head. And this is the cerebellum. You've got to detoxify yourself and get this all cleaned out because nothing, I don't know how old you are. Oh, she's 20. She's only 20 years old.
Swollen lymph in face and legs.
Swollen lymph in face and legs. Hormone imbalance. Very acidic body. Often constipated even when raw vegetable. Fruit. That means her nervous system's way down, probably very low blood pressure. Adrenals and kidneys are way down. What, 20 years old? Remember, we're talking about you guys, you beautiful 20-year-olds and your teenagers, and you guys are suffering so much with stuff like this. This girl shouldn't be suffering like this.
Right.
So this is the problem with the stuff. This her brain is full of lymph, inflammation, acidosis, whatever word you want to use with that. Your lymph system's backed up real bad, sweetheart. Clean up your bowels. Clean up your kidneys and adrenals. Get them up. Get them going. Look at our videos and tell you the herbs we recommend to do that. The diet, obviously, and you keep working. Take the brain and nerve, too, to increase the nerve power. Peristalsis for your bowels. Get your adrenals up. There's a case where you're going to use glandulars on this lady.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this, dizzy, brain fog. Probably want to use some upper circulation, too, to power that blood flow through the brain a little bit, hoping to break this loose and to drain all this quick as possible. Heavy metals, stuff like that. Use a foot bath. Already died. Oh, my God. All the bacteria and nasty stuff. Well, they're just making themselves at home, honey. You're a smorgasbord. You offer a smorgasbord of food. So you're going to invite nature in. Come on. Extremely low iron, B12. This is all adrenals. B12, iron, that's all adrenal glands.
And I'm sure that you've watched YouTube enough that you know this, but make sure you're supporting that kidney before you start doing a lot of detoxing and pulling, or you're going to have more issues and more problems.
Yeah. Start out with 2 kidneys and 1 lymphatic formula, then move up to 2 lymphatic formulas and see how you're clearing. And you can go up from there. But you've got to go slower at first, get the kidneys open, like she said, or we see it backing up and even being worse. You know, just lessons learned. We work with each other, and we just do our very best. You just know when to hold them, when to pull them, when to back up, when to go fast, you know, that sort of thing.
Yep.
That's what makes a good practitioner, is when to know how to slow you up or speed you up. She's going to Thailand on the 17th to be able to eat fruit. This was the best thing you've said, Louise, from Sweden. Poor thing. Too much Swedish milk. Or should I say the Swedish chocolates? I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about Swedish chocolate.
Should we give her our address here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to send any Swedish chocolates you don't want to use anymore, no, we just put them on the back shelf.
Yes,
right,
just to stare at them.
Yeah, just to stare at them. We're 100% raw, everyone in this office, right? I am 47-year-old female, single mom. I have Hep C and was told this over 10 years ago. They wanted to do a liver biopsy, but after the doctor's first try, going in blind, and he missed, I started cramping. Here we go. And he told me I wasn't cramping or in pain. Now, you're not really hurting. I might have, cut something, but you're okay. That's not real pain you're feeling. And I made him stop. Then I reported him for being rude and telling me what I was or was not feeling. Now, this is a smart lady. This is Sherry 1031. I'm liking this lady already.
Yes.
Stand up. You darn right. Right? I was crazy how it was crazy how he treated me. No kidding. Boy, we had one lady the other day. The oncologist says, "You're going to die." I mean, he was yelling at her. "You're going to die if you don't do chemo and stuff." It's like he already removed the breast. There was nothing there. So there was nothing for her to worry about. But she's going to die if she didn't do chemo. And I thought, boy, he's a good healer. Whoa. My God, these guys only wish they were healers, I guess. I don't know what's up. This was 10 years ago. I recently had to get an ultrasound on my liver because it was enlarged and hurting. Now, honey, you've got to do something about this, though. Because this, when we say Hep C, they go viral, we go acid. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can have viral loads, big deal. We've talked about this before with HIV and Hep C and stuff like this. But the only way you're going to get the viral load out is get the reason why you're enlarged and in pain. Because if you don't, you're going to move yourself into liver cancer. There's no question about it. So get going now and don't wait anymore. You waited too long already. So let's get that liver cleaned out. But to get the liver cleaned out, where do we got to go? Kidneys and adrenals. You got to go to those kidneys and adrenals and get that filtered, clean up the gut, because the liver is a branch off the tree of the GI tract. So get that GI tract cleaned up. You got to get your kidneys and adrenals too, so everybody starts detoxifying the rest of the tissues, and then you'll be good. And pull that out of there.
If you have a blockage in your pipes at home, you don't just take out the pipe. You remove the blockage. If you need to replace the pipe, that's one thing, but you remove the blockage and get that flowing again. You don't just take out the pipe.
That's why I've got water under the house. I took the pipe. Exactly.
Clean it.
Exactly.
Clean that blockage
Exactly. Out. Remove the blockage. Exactly. Now, you could use some castor oil packs over that liver to help with the inflammation, the swelling of it, that's for sure. because this doesn't sound, this sounds like you need to get this letter. They said I had a fatty liver. Well, we just said, what's the 3 things that the body uses to fight acids? Lipids, cholesterol. So you get fatty livers, fatty kidneys, fatty lungs, fatty hearts, fatty everything. I've seen people come in with fatty arms. You know, fat deposits everywhere. It's just too acidic. See the same doc, and I refuse. The first thing they all want to do is a biopsy and then try to put you on a harsh meds. You're right, but now you know what to do about it, sweetheart, and you want to fix it, honey. Now, not later, right? Don't mess around with this anymore. You need to get this done. And the reason she waited 10 years, because she didn't have an alternative put in her face. And this is the side of thing I'd like to cram in Congressman's face or our government's face and say, this is what the medical doctor's doing. They're so rude, they can't cure anyway, they're killing people with their medications, and people are not shown other... Now, what do they call that when they're only trying to make one healing modality? What do they call that in law? A monopoly. You know, I mean, this is ridiculous. And this is the sort of thing they've shoved up. People say, well, why haven't they heard of you before? I love that one. I put up with that all my life. How come they haven't heard? If you can cure all these things, how come they haven't heard of you before? Well, lucky we're still here. Every day, I wonder. You know, it's just a sad thing. But notice where we are. We're in the lower bowels of creation. And just the way it is. You know, you have to get your survival skills down now. And if anything, I hope YouTube keeps this up before the survival skills that it offers all of you guys. Because that's the name of the game now. It isn't have fun, enjoy the beauty of freedom. It's survival skills. Learn how to survive what's coming, because I don't know how we're going to change it except just get more of us. My parents are always complaining and putting me down because I don't like taking medications. Well, you know, that's... Someday, hopefully, that all consciousness will die off here, but it's going to be a while yet. I have recently 2 weeks started trying to juice greens and apples and trying to eat more fruits and get away from the meat and breads. My liver is feeling better, but now I have been having pains in my lower back and went to doctor, and they said I have a kidney infection. Where are we now? Kidneys? So how could the kidneys possibly be connected to the liver, right? Infection, which they gave me Cipro. Oh, Cipro. I'm trying to inform them about Cipro. Get the PDR, get a nurse's PDR on Cipro and read it. Blood clots, strokes, and heart attacks. Oh my God, which is a very strong med. I took it for 2 days and started feeling sick. Good thing it didn't kill you, sweetheart. This is the one I'm going to get the FDA on, is Cipro. I am trying to fight this, but it is not going away because you're not detoxifying yourself right, Sherry. You've got to dig in and get going. Now, it might be a little bumpy at first because that liver is major. I would stay away from the greens, okay. You know, don't eat the salads. Juice the greens. I would definitely get into the grapes. Grapes. Maybe stay away from the acid fruits for a little while until you get this inflammation out of there because it could exacerbate pain.
Yes.
But go on the grapes, the apples, and things like just what you're doing. Get on the herbs. Get on the herbs. Can you give me some advice and tell me what kinds of herbs to take? Get on the kidney herbs. Get on the lymphatic herbs. Get on the liver gallbladder herbs. That sort of thing. Clean up the gut. Of the things we've been talking about here, and I've laid you out some good protocols. Or call in and have them, or sign up, and we'll write you a personal protocol. I only charge $150 to go over their case, send me your blood work pictures, send me everything, and I write you a 14-week protocol. That way I can get to more people.
Specific to you.
Specific to you. It's the only way I can get to more people. I can't do it one-to-one like this. Takes too much time.
You know, there's a lot of horror stories out there about detoxing, but if you detox correctly,
yeah, I like
you will not have that problem.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And
So
she's right
if you hear
on.
about a bad detox case, you know why. You know why.
That's why this was written. People detox the wrong way, but you know, quite truthfully, kidneys is something a lot of people have not learned practitioner-wise. And it's just something that we are teaching, and now people starting to take hold and go, wow, that makes so much sense now. Absolutely. You know, it's just getting ourselves out of these little boxes.
I had a friend call me the other day, and he's like, I keep having these issues. I start doing fruits, I start doing this, and I start having these problems, this pain. And I'm like, you're hitting a healing crisis. And then you draw back, and it slows it down. And so you go forward again, and you run into that wall, and then you stop and reverse. I said, next time it happens, push through it.
Absolutely. Sometimes it is better just to keep pushing and keep going through it. You know, you just got to know how bad it can get that way. And I just had one the other night call me, you know, just serious detoxes. But she had her serious detoxes in where her cancers were, on her spine. And she would have pain in the lower back. She had some cancer in the lower back. Real pain. Gone. Now it's in the upper back. She had more cancer there. Gone. Isn't that neat? She's working this out of her body. I love it. And she just, extreme pain. Extreme. And now it's gone. And it's moving somewhere else. That's good detox. If it hangs and stays, not good. You're either bringing yourself down too much and you're holding everything there, because I've told them this before, you can hold a detox there for weeks and weeks if you come down off this higher level. Just like you said, you got to push through and go on through the other door while you're going through this. Generally, it puts you down anyway. Generally, you don't want to eat. Generally, just like nature does, makes you fast.
If you're driving along and you come up against road construction or a roadblock, you don't turn around and go home. You detour, but you go through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good analogy. I like that. Can you give me some advice? Okay. I also have a constant ringing in my ear. I get headaches often. Well, again, this is all about pressures and acidosis and everything else, and also weak myelin sheaths. So one thing I would do is candle my ears, 2 or 3 candles per ear, take off some pressure, get those kidneys and adrenals going again, would you say, and start pulling and cleaning on that lymph system and get that lymph pressure, because you have blood pressure, but you also have lymph pressure, and the word associated with lymph pressure that most people relate to, glaucoma. But this is an acid lymph pressure. Yeah, acid. Also have what should I start with? Hill-T. Oh no, I think I would jump with my pedal to the metal. Don't sit there and baby this. Your liver is not waiting. It's breaking down. So don't sit there and wait. Grab this, sweetheart, and go, because you don't have time to wait anymore. And thank you, Sherry. Love you, dear. This is from Christopher Roberts. My name is Christopher, and I live in Riverside, California. I am an active 35-year-old. I wanted to thank, we have so many great young people on this side. I love it. Where's the older people? There's some of you guys out there, but I'd like to see more of the older people get their act together, you know. But, you know, the younger people come, they're less opinionated, they're less set in their ways, and that's what I love about them. And I think that these young people are just, those Facebook people, they're just tearing it up. So I just think all these people are really going to do some good stuff there. Let me see here. I have been listening to Dr. Morse for almost a year, and he has continually motivated me to keep eating fruit land, avoid eating acidic foods. I am nowhere I would like to be yet. We still cooking? Good. But I am trying hard. You keep trying, man. There's no shame. You know, everybody's at their own speed and everything. I'm not like these purists that come down on people. You know, that's not right. We all do the best we can with this. I do invite you to tear it up, no question. And when you have a serious enough problem, and if I say tear it up, you better take that to the bank. Because if not, you're going to get yourself into trouble you don't want to be in. Because it's much harder when you're, you know, way on down the road of these things. I am starting, and the problem is that people knew they had a simpler remedy earlier on. They'd take it and be out of trouble sooner. That's the sad part, is that they know if they go allopathically, they're in trouble. And is that the way we run our healthcare? That is the way we run that? No, it's the way we strong arm, is the way we web an illusion over the people while we take their money out of their pocket, we killing them. I mean, that's all, you know, no offense. Love good surgeons, love good emergency rooms, but still, when we just talked about, and even emergency medicine, we're dealing in burns, not good, not good. I'll show you the difference. Somebody go out there and get 3rd and 4th degree burns on both arms, and you have the medical doctors take care of this side, and we'll take care of this side. Don't take us up on that, but that would not, you know, be interesting, wouldn't it? But John showed the two right there.
Absolutely.
Some hospitals are using his burn salve. Do you know that? Now, where am I at here? I thought I would show them a glimpse into the lymph system. I have a pretty okay understanding of it. Good. See, these guys are getting smarter up there. Also, I have a few questions regarding cancer.
Where are you at? Oh.
Cancer
It's
and lymph.
cancer
Cancer and lymph. That's all one word. I'm going, what? If acidic waste turns good cells into bad cells due to bathing in acid interstitial fluid and ultimately transforming healthy cells into cancer cells, is it not true that cancer cells replicate themselves? Absolutely. Matter of fact, all cells morphotype themselves. I mean, it just, that's what it is. That's why we like to get in. But there's a certain frequency there that they become scavengers. I mean, the macrophages. This is why I'm glad there's not a lot of macrophages around interstitial fluids. They're in the lymph nodes, so the lymphocytes can bring these cells to the lymph nodes and then be destroyed there. I like that better, and because you'll have less of a feeding frenzy, like a shark frenzy. Because the truth is, and I've said this many before, don't weaken the cells that comprise your body, or you kick in one of the greatest laws of nature: the strong survive and the weak are consumed. And we talk a lot about this here. It's not just cleaning yourself, it's strengthening the cells that comprise your human body, because the cells are becoming so weak genetically that virals are having great heydays on people, attaching all over the place. They can't attach on a healthy cell. You know, just look at nature. You see that on the Discovery channels. You see that on all these channels. Time is flying.
I know. If you download a program and it doesn't download correctly, it's not going to work correctly. So when that cell reproduces itself, it can't reproduce itself healthier. You have to get it healthier or get rid of it and form the better, the perfect cells, the strengthened cell.
Well, when you have a lymph system that's backing up, initially you experience inflammation. That's on the outside of a cell. But as we were talking about the mucus and the congestion, when the cell no longer can eliminate outside of itself, then that is a constipated cell. And that means that its own waste, just like you being constipated, that own waste, just like the kidneys not filtering, your own wastes are going to break you down. And that's just what damages the DNA of a healthy cell, is acids. Look at that largest study with chemo the other day, showing chemo damages the DNA of healthy cells. Till then, you're burning the wall. The wall of a cell is protected by the phospholipids in the wall, which is predominantly HDL. There again, lipids protecting. Everything's lipid-based. Someone asked me a question about, I wanted to get to it because it was a good question about semen and stuff, about the body fluids, about lipid-based fluids and acidosis. And you can see that in your seminal fluids, is that whenever you get acid fluids, it's destructive. And it would be destructive to the egg, destructive to the sperm, absolutely. So your fluids are going to be more like the foods you're eating. We had a little fun with that. We can't go there on this. That was X-rated, so we can't talk about that conversation. I've had a lot of experiences with foods and body fluids and stuff like that. So, but X-rated for this channel. But this guy's right. You know, if someone goes on antibiotics because they had surgery or other reasons, how long does it take, and what needs to be done to reestablish bacteria in the lymph nodes? That, my friend, is a question I can't answer you, and that is about the best question you could have asked, because it concerns me too. Nobody thinks about that, and we think about that a lot. That's very concernable, because what we see is those people that have been on the antibiotics are the sickest. Those are the people that have the most cancers. Those are the people that have the most lymphatic problems. And you guys see all the sulfur in the eyes from the sulfa drugs, which are predominantly antibiotics. So you see, this is a very serious issue. This Jenner Pasteury theory of the germ has bad karma for those two. This has wrecked millions and millions of lives. And now we're fear-based. We're so fear-based as man. Oh, no, the colds and flus. And I'm just watching the news. I want to laugh and I want to cry. Oh, all the people they're going to kill trying to treat a toxic body. They're going to put more toxins in toxic bodies because they think some germ is at the core. If you bring in a bacteria strain or a viral and your body doesn't want it, it'll throw you into a cold and flu-like symptom. Thank you. Because you can get, I've said this before, you can get more detoxification done when your body is in that process than you could months on herbs and diet.
I just had an experience with a lady who was 97 years old. Sunday, she turned 97. And she was doing fairly well for 97. She's in a nursing home. got a UTI, which we know what that is,
Yeah.
acid, and they gave her Bactrim. This lady went from, she got sunken eyes, shaking to the point she couldn't even hold her own cup, can't even hardly eat. Her daughter said, literally, I will be surprised if she's here in 5 days.
Wow.
Because of Bactrim. What does the doctor come along and say after she's been on it 10 days? Oops, we'll put her down as allergic to that and not give it to her again.
Vominous. Vominous. Medical doctor, turn in your license at the corner drugstore and go home, and don't pass go and don't collect $200 and start working for a plumbing company. Then you'll learn what plumbing is, and then you'll grow up and be some strong guy in the future. Jesus criminy. It just makes you sick to your stomach when you see this more and more. And this is another thing I have to tell you about. You guys are seeing truth a lot more than everyone else, and you're learning more and more about it. And you're already advanced souls. Most of these people watching this YouTube are advanced souls. You wouldn't be directed to this channel if you weren't a higher evolved soul, I guarantee you. They're just not. You know, you are definitely of the higher ones.
Yeah.
And you're going to see truth at a level that's going to make you sick to your stomach of what's going on here. And you see, that's my struggle too, is to remain detached and in my center while amongst the chaos, what appears to be chaos. It is simply karma. Hard to keep telling yourself that when you're a loving, compassionate person, because the suffering, it isn't about death. Transition from one plane to another, good, let's get out of here. But the suffering is disgusting to me. I hate that. I just have a problem with that. If you're going to suffer, shoot 'em. This is from Christopher. Where are we? Oh yeah, he's done pretty good. How do you do iridology on dark brown eyes? Very difficult, lots of extra light. I tried to take pictures of my brown eyes, but the brown part is too dark. Extra light, Christopher, extra light. We're going to have to cut off here in a minute, aren't we?
Lights come in from both sides, give it a third dimensional look, and show you more the issues that are there.
We're going to do, we have a whole bunch of them. We're going to do another iris thing here. We got a bunch of them right here. This is Sherry again. What does it mean when your stool shows undigested food? Seems it just goes straight through me. I always see what I ate the same day or the following day, the food in my stool. Is this bad? It ain't good. Well, it simply means that I would turn my little head to your pancreas, especially if it's vegetable matter and fruit matter, and go, So you got to get on the pancreatic formula. I would do the pancreatic herbal formula with the capsules, and 2-3 times a day at the same time. Clean up your gut, get your lymph moving. Go after that lymph system that flows through the pancreas too. Make sure that's not it or the genetics of it.
And if you've got this going on, you most likely have some malabsorption.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
that's a good take. Absolutely.
I would add the superfood blend to
And-
that, so that
and
you start getting some stuff.
And the bowel raker, the
GI
broom.
Sweet.
Clean, and rebuild, and restore. That's the beauty of herbs. I love them. They clean, rebuild, and restore. I love them. Once you see herbs, just like you saw with the burdock and everything, you fall in love.
Yeah.
My God, you guys are good.
Yeah.
We should not have fear of these things. We should embrace them with joy and love. The FDA should be, if they were a true consumer protection, they should embrace the herbs with joy and love. Oh no, we're going to kick them away. We'd prefer the toxic pharmaceuticals.
Everything's created for a reason. So why are the herbs there in the first place? And why do people want to get rid of them? There's only one reason why people would want to get rid of them.
One reason only. And that can be dealt with in a lawful situation as long as you have a honest judge. Oh, we have to keep our judge accountable. We have developing the RICO Act here. The Congress, for those in the states, Congress definitely gave a good act for the private citizen. It's called the RICO Act, and you can hold all the judges and everybody accountable. And guess what? We perfected them, and they're coming out. And we're going to show you guys, those who have been hurt by the government, going to show you how to use them. We're going to congest our court systems with truth.
We can't sit there and be neutral anymore. There is no neutral. If you're neutral, you're for the wrong. You're for those who did not vote,
Yeah.
You weren't just saying, I'm not going to do anything. You were actually voting. You were actually voting.
You know, and you can be godly with action, because the question is, living in the now, there is no movement, there is no activity, because it's all embracing. So there is nothing there. But you have bodies that are in creation where movement is essential. So you can, what's that, do without doing, so to speak? That's all those cliches you've heard in Zen and the Shaolins and stuff like that. And that's all true, and you learn what they really mean. You have to learn how to be in the eternal now and enjoy the bliss of God, but at the same time, carry the torch, carry the sword. You know, I've always said that, you know, especially Twitchell brought this out about swordsman of the Sugmad, which is the name for an ancient Sanskrit name for God. But either way, be a warrior and stand up for truth. You don't have to be mean or evil or you know, fall into their negativity, but you stand for truth and love. That's it. There's no doorway past that. The hand is, that's where you stop. And that's just what we need to do, really, I think. And keep your spirituality, though. Keep your love, because we can do with love this. Portugal was a great example of that, where they had a coup, if you want, a revolution. I forget, it was called the War of Roses or the War of Incarnations, and hundreds of thousands of people came up on the dictator's thing in Lisbon, and they all had incarnations of roses. I can't remember which one, and they said, you're out. If you want a war, we'll give it to you, but you're out. And that's what we, the people of America, need to do to Washington. Go out and say, all you guys get out of here, we're going to plant some corn here, because you guys have ruined it all. And it's federal territory, so we would have, you know, but, or put a big fence around it. You know, because we have to stand up with that kind of love and conviction. I think only one person was killed in that revolution. So when millions of people stand up and say that's it, basically that's it. And then the rats run. What is the best way to get over asthma? I have been raw 3 months. Take oregano oil, lobelia marshmallow herb, and heel oil tea and castor oil pack. I am 61 years old. I have a long way to go. It takes 61 years to get this way. I went on a 48-hour water fast. It was good. I plan on a 7-day fast to clean me out. I'm for, thank you, Larry Z. Larry Z. Asthma isn't just a congestive condition of the lung like pneumonia. There is a neurological component to the COPDs. And asthma is the beginning stages of COPDs. And so always go to the adrenal glands. That's where it is, the autonomic nervous system. Get your adrenals up, get your kidneys filtering. Also use lungs too. Start to clean out the lungs as well. But it's a neurological problem, Larry, and you've got to enhance that nervous system. You do that by increasing neurotransmitters. That means make your adrenals healthy, and the brain and nerve 2 will strengthen the nervous system as well. So you can go with the brain and nerve 2 if you want, or whatever one you want on the market. Get a good nerve strengthening formula. Get your adrenals up. Start cleaning your body out, and you'll be very successful, and you'll go way beyond asthma.
I would also look at maybe drinking some of the Heel and 3-lung tea.
Good point. The 3-lung tea, Larry. Add it with the Heel tea, because the 3-lung tea is more about breaking up hardened sputum or mucus. We gotta go. That was pretty good, though. We knocked it. Oh, we're only this much short, and then, well, I didn't show you under there. I'll never catch up. These guys are too good. Listen, we love you all, and we thank you so much for bearing with us. We're trying our darndest to bring out as much truth as we know. I think you're a good addition here, sweetheart. We need a good counselor here. I love your attitude and everything, and that's what we're here, is try to help. We're trying to work with you as fast as we can. So if we miss somebody or we don't do something like we should, we apologize ahead of time. Don't hold us against us. We're trying our hardest here. We're a small place, if you guys have seen. We'll take you on a new tour through here. But really appreciate you all for watching. And I love each and every one of you. And I keep telling them, watch your dreams. You never know who might show up. So I love you. We love you. Thank you for listening and taking your precious time out to learn and grow. You'll never regret it, I promise.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.